Good morning, welcome to a morning review on Monday the 30th of March. This is Kim Watson speaking for Easy Trader. Okay, looking at the euro dollar first, and basically on Friday we ran back down through to the lower band there and managed to get a bit of a bounce, so put ourselves in a bit of a spinning top type candle, or doji almost. From here really it looks like it could go either way, to be fair. I'm looking what in terms of the short-term patterns and what it's done here. I mean, we put in effectively, we put a lower high in actually from that point of view. We've then put a higher high, although not necessarily confirmed as such. So it's certainly a potential reversal candle, and there is the potential for us to continue the original move. There was a bit of a pattern going on here. It may be all over. It may have done an A, B, C, and that may be it, and we could be in a 1, maybe still get a bounce here too, and so on in terms of wave formation. I'm not going to try and measure those though, but for now erring towards the bearish side at the moment, but watching really for shape for this morning, looking at what's going on in the shorter term time frames, and looking as ever at the if we break the lows here, really got to be on the short side. We are below the daily pivot at the moment. A break of these lows would see me sort of chasing down for Friday's lows. Look for a move down to that sort of into that area. Now it's not really finished here at the moment. We did have this trend line running across here a while back, and well, still there really. You could have drawn on from these prior highs here, which runs through here, which is broken at the moment. Now I'm looking horizontally as well, and there's a number of different points here where we had, in particularly around this 108.94 area where we had previous highs there. It seemed to hold in for a long time before eventually running through. Now again, if it starts running beyond that point, well then I'd be looking for Friday's highs. So it really depends on how it shapes up here. I almost prefer the continuation and a bit more retracement into this market, or a bit more of a retracement from the bearish move into more of a bullish move, but we'll see how it rolls out. So very, very simple there for me this morning. Really need to just put a horizontal line across there, looking at this sort of area around this previous high here and these other highs. See how we fit out of that. It's got this weekly pivot above us. May want to come up towards that, the 50 MA again. 50's been tested, so if it does come up to there, there's a reasonable chance it could continue up, as I say, to Friday's highs, and maybe up to that R1 area. Right, the cable. It's a smile at cable because it's still tight in a very, very tight range here. It's range bound, so it's directionless at the moment, effectively. Bigger market, you would say, well, it's still in this sort of consolidation phase, and it could easily just continue rolling over back towards the month's lows. But for now, it's in this very, very tight range, and there's little for me in terms of suggesting where it may go. It did break slightly from the range, from the lower point of the range on Friday, but it's back into that sort of level again at the moment and seeing a bit of a bounce. So I would be, I find this very difficult in terms of where I'm looking for really. I can be looking for longs really above those highs there. Maybe if it starts shaping up this morning at some point and gets us into some sort of positive direction, I may be interested. It really needs to be above that 50 MA, I think, for me to really be looking at longs. I'm putting in this. I know this candle's not finished, but if this candle was to be finished, then, well, maybe looking at the short, the other side of that. I mean, shorts still may be on for the S1 area, even from where we are at the moment. So it could, as I say, I'm going to remove that line because it's not a finished candle, and it could easily come back. Still 40 minutes to go. Could roll over and come back for that S1 area, and again retest those prior lows there at 148. Okay, that's cable. Looking then at the dollar yen. Now, there's no significant news coming out of the sorts today, so it could just be one of those quiet days which, well, say quiet days, relatively quiet days, which just gets a bit of rumour coming into play. Dollar yen, again, just really consolidation on a 4-hourly. It had been putting in a good downward trend. Thursday's candle would pierced the 100 moving average, but we're sitting there support around the monthly pivot at the moment. It's also hit its weekly pivot. There's no real absolute clues here. I could redraw the trend line that I had on there on Friday effectively. Pop it across the highs here in some shape or form. There we go. Maybe looking for the bullish side of it was to be running up to that, back towards that 50. If it breaks the trend line, maybe look for the bullish side for the dollar to the upside. But at the moment, it's, as I say, very, very choppy. Looking at it in the shorter time frames, it doesn't make for easy trading at all. Let's just move that out of the way. In fact, it could be as a trend line all across the hourlies, across the lows here, and there's likewise across the highs, and it's really how it fits out of that wedge. It's not an easy read effectively. If it breaks the highs there, maybe it'll run back up towards the R1 on Friday's highs, these previous highs here, and find resistance at that sort of level. So there is a chance it could run up there. Already caught the daily pivot. It's above its daily pivot at the moment. Maybe that could be the route it runs. As I say, not at all clear these markets, and certainly for the pound, for the dollar yen, less clear. Aussie dollar had a bit of a gap by the looks of things on the open. It's filled that gap, but we certainly had a bit of a gap on the open, easing itself even lower at this stage. It's got a weekly pivot above us, but most likely got a daily pivot above us as well. So let's just refresh this. Here we go. Yep, so daily pivots above us as well. There is a bit of divergence going on these levels where it is now. I wouldn't be looking to buy at these sort of levels trying to catch a bottom. I'd much rather wait for a confirmation of the move. Maybe off a trend line running. It's a bit more of an aggressive one running down here. So we can start breaking that trend line and moving towards the upside. Maybe it'll run for its pivot, but for me to be looking long on the Aussie, I'd be wanting to see the pound and the euro also moving on the upside there. But really, to me, it's weak. I'd rather be selling into the Aussie than buying into the Aussie the way it is. It's weak in this 4-hourly perspective. The dailies, it's been rolling over a lot more than anything else. It may have now come down to some Fibonacci support. Let's just have a quick check where we are. Looks like 61.8. It's not far off yet. Yeah, it's not too far off the 618. It's in that sort of Fib zone there, between the 50, 61.8. Maybe we'll see some sort of reversal here, but for now, it's to me it's looking weak, and I'd rather be selling into it rather than buying into it. Although in that sort of shorter term time frame, it may just want to break that level and push up back to the daily pivot. Okay, so that's one. If the other markets are starting to rally as well, and it's all moving together, it gives us a nice target. Right, that's it for me. As I say, no significant news out today. There's some sort of lower news at 1:30. We've got the US. They've got the personal spending, etc. So we'll get a different feel of the inflation stripped out a little bit, really. So it's really about goods purchased by consumers as opposed to elsewhere. So excluding food and energy. So it gives us a bit of an idea of the sort of consumer inflation. Okay, let's say nothing else. Have a great day. Bye for now.